What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and yesterday evening I put a poll on the channel to let you vote for the next video, and the winner by 2% is another episode of Am I the Butthole? We have also another one of these coming up later on today, so be on the lookout for that too. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, subscribe and notification bell, and a huge thank you to the members of our channel. You are truly appreciated. And let's get on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Degenetrix. Am I the butthole for breaking into my daughter's iPhone and deleting her Tinder match? I feel really guilty for doing this. I have an excellent relationship with my daughters. One of them has been home since spring break due to university shutting down. She's been using her Tinder app to flirt with local guys. She shows me their profiles sometimes so we can share a giggle or laugh at some of the more ridiculous ones. One of the things that I still cannot quite get comfortable with is that she has a thing for older men. So her matches range in ages from 20s to 40s. She knows I'm uncomfortable with it, and in fact shows me her older matches sometimes just to needle me, in jest. Yesterday she showed me one of the older guys she's been teasing. I was ready to have a laugh with her until I saw his face. He, Joe, was my high school fling with whom I had a complicated relationship. It is only a relationship that my now deceased parents and ex-husband know about. It's a secret I'm resolute in bringing to the grave with me. Freshman year in college, when both of us turned 18, we were on a road trip to Las Vegas where we got married at one of those wedding chapels. Around the same time I got pregnant. My parents were rightly livid. When I told Joe about the pregnancy, he freaked out because he wasn't ready to be a parent. Truthfully, neither was I. My parents helped us get an annulment. This was time before social media, so it was a lot easier for me to take a year off from college to travel the world. I had the baby, whom I gave up for adoption. Joe also disappeared from my life promptly after the annulment. During that time, I met a very nice man from a fellowship group who, despite my messy history and pregnancy, accepted me for who I am. A year after adoption and recovery and self-discovery, we married and had my now beautiful daughters. I had completely forgotten about Joe. I had tried looking him up. The only thing I could find was another guy with his same name on LinkedIn, but it wasn't him. Desperate, I decided to break into my daughter's phone while she was sleeping. I only wanted his contact information. I read her messages with him to see if they exchanged phone or email. Luckily, and also unfortunately, they haven't met, but he was coming on very strong. The same guy I knew. My daughter explained to me that unmatching someone permanently cancels him, so I sent him a message from her Tinder telling him to stay the hell away from my daughter because she is the half sibling to his own offspring out there, and then I unmatched him. This morning, my daughter was upset that a guy had cancelled her because she was the one who usually does the ghosting. I reached out to my ex-husband, haven't for ages, to ask for advice. He strongly believes that I should have been honest with our daughter, but he and I will bring this secret with us to the grave, I reminded him. He suggested I keep looking for Joe to make sure he got the message. I will do that, so sorry for the long story. I'm rambling a bit because I'm distressed. Wow, this is a crazy one and quite sad as well at the same time, but I'm afraid, as hard as it is, I'm going to have to say you're the arsehole in this situation, simply because you broke into your daughter's phone. You really need to explain why you did that, and I know you want to take this information to the grave, but I think honesty is always going to be key here. Usually information will come out in the end, and it'll only make it worse if you held it back for years and years. Otherwise, you've just broken her trust for no reason, and that kind of stuff just can't be fixed. So let me know, guys, what do you think about the situation? Do you think OP is the arsehole or not? Vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story comes from LMS2764. Am I the arsehole for reporting a parent for child neglect? I have a group of friends where we often hang out at each other's houses and have drinking parties. As with any friend group, while I have friends I'm close to, there are also people who hang out that I don't consider my friends. There was one particular girl in this group. Let's refer to her as Claire. Claire is a single mum with 2 kids, ages 10 and 8. Claire shared several stories with the group about incidents that happened with her kids while she wasn't there. Once it was that the 10-year-old talked the 8-year-old into leaving the house with him while she was working without permission. Claire got home and had no idea where the kids were. Another time was when Claire got home from work to find the kids had decided to throw a house party and had kids from all over the neighbourhood at her house. She'd bring her kids to the house parties where she would proceed to pass out from drinking while the rest of us dealt with her children. Final straw for me was when one night she picked me up to go out at my friend's house and told me along the way that we'd have to stop at her house so she'd give her son his cell phone. I asked if the kids would be home alone and she said yes, but I wouldn't be leaving them for long as it was a school night. I went inside with her and did not see any other adult present. We hung out at my friend's house and at around 11 I went home as I had to get my kids up for school the next morning. I'd left my 13-year-old to babysit the 9-year-old. The next morning I get a phone call from my friend to tell me that Claire and a couple of her friends were still there. She proceeded to tell me that Claire had gone out, done drugs, came back, drunk more, stayed the night. She invited me over and I said I would stop by after I got my kids on the bus. When I got there around 9 AM, Claire walked out of the bedroom drinking out of a bottle of vodka. I asked her about the kids and she said, "They should be okay. My son called me and told me that they got up for school." She was not concerned about going home and checking on them. My friend told me that Claire did not leave her house until 5 that evening. After that, I called and reported her for child neglect. I did not tell her I was going to do it. As part of the investigation, they read her the report against her. From the details in the report, Claire was able to conclude that someone in our group had been the one to report her and confronted the group. Not wanting anyone else to get grief for it, I fessed up and said it was me. This caused a huge rift in the friend group and resulted in me losing people who were friends of mine because they thought what I did was out of line and that I should have told her first. My argument is that I never give a heads up to potentially neglectful and abusive parents because then they have time to cover it up, and the main concern for me is safety of the children no matter what. Am I the arsehole for not telling her first and for reporting her? In my opinion, absolutely not the arsehole in this situation, simply because kids' safety comes first. What a life are they having at the minute that their mum didn't come home all night and then she left them all day as well and they had to get themselves up ready for school and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's just not on, is it? And those so-called people over there are friends. What the hell? No way are they friends. Absolute arseholes that they didn't back you up. And they're happy for those kids to be over there by themselves as well. You know, I'm all for kids learning responsibilities and things, but leaving them all night, yeah, it's just not on. What do you guys think about this story? Don't forget to vote in that top right-hand corner. Our next story comes from Proper Background 3. Am I the arsehole for getting angry my husband keeps trying to overfeed me? My husband, 37 male, and I, 37 female, have been together 21 years, married 18. I have a low capacity stomach. I'm the type who orders a single burger, no fries and drink, and be full. It's been a running joke in our marriage that I eat like the birds. Anyway, he's an out of work chef and we decided it would be best for him to extend his quarantine time due to him being high risk. Since then, he's become a huge food pusher. He asks if I'm hungry and asks for 1 egg and he brings me 4. Or he insists on making my plate and gives me a large man-sized portion. What's worse for me is when I bulk the amount, he laughs at me and says he has faith I can finish it. When I don't, he gets upset at me for wasting food. I feel like I'm being set up. I've tried talking to him, I've tried being patient and telling myself he's overcompensating since he's out of work, but I've gained 10 pounds and I'm constantly nauseous from overeating. Yesterday I was finally fed up and forcefully asked, "Why do you keep doing this?" He shut down and went for a walk. It's been strained cordiality ever since. Am I the arsehole for getting angry my husband keeps trying to overfeed me? I kind of think that feed is a bit strong in this sense because you hear feeders like on TV and stuff and they're like proper trying to make them large kind of people, but I think he's just a chef and he's like going into his job in his own head and he's like sort of treating you like a customer, so he's trying to feed you constantly, keep you happy kind of thing. That's what it feels to me, and he's probably just trying to take his mind off things, you know. He's probably stressing that he's not at work with everything going on around him, and so he's just turned into the one thing he loves. So I got to say in this situation, you're not the arsehole, but I can't say your husband is either. I think you just two need to have a really good discussion at the same time. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story comes from Throwaway Tim B. Am I the arsehole for asking a friend to pay for musical tickets after she turned me down? Context is that I've been friends with a girl for about 6 months. I asked her out within the first week of a meeting and she said she'd rather be friends, which has been fine. Of course, I was initially bummed, but I was happy to see how things go. It's been great and I genuinely do value the friendship, especially chatting non-stop during lockdown, but the feelings have still been somewhat there, and with enough time passing, I thought maybe she might even have changed her mind. Earlier this week I bought the tickets for a musical next year that we both really want to see, and she was over the moon. I really wanted to go with her, but I thought maybe it could also be a good opportunity to ask her out again. Seeing as it had been 6 months, she asked me how much the tickets were and I told her. Well, I was thinking maybe this could be a date, and in that case, no charge at all. My friend told me she was sorry, but she still didn't have feelings, valued the friendship, etc. I told her it was fine, that I just thought I'd check in again, and we moved on as usual. It hurt, but I was fine to just stay friends and hope the feelings would eventually subside. The next day, we started talking about the musical again. I mentioned the price of the tickets and she said something like, "Oh, I thought it was a gift." I told her it would have been free if we were going on a date, but as friends, I'd want her to pay for hers. She got quite annoyed at me and accused me of trying to pay her back for not returning feelings. She told me she really didn't want to hurt me, and to her credit, her rejection was done considerably as it can be, but this was really making her feel like I was trying to punish her for not reciprocating interest. I tried to explain that I didn't mean to come across like that, but these tickets were relatively expensive too, and I just wasn't willing to spend that much money on a friend. My friend told me she wasn't upset about having to pay for the ticket, and she was always happy to do that, but she felt like this was me trying to get some petty revenge or even manipulation. That I didn't value her as a friend, but just as someone I could maybe have a relationship with. I thought about the conversation and I do think I was pretty leveled, didn't come across as bitter or even worse, a nice guy, which is the concept we've both laughed at together. I do see in retrospect how the behaviour can be construed the way she's seeing it, but I think that's her completely misreading who I am and how I've been in our friendship. It also goes without saying that I'd take it back if I could. Obviously the rejection component sucks, but even then, if I just forgot the whole free ticket concept, I still take the pain of her saying no again and just move on. So am I the arsehole, or more scarily, and I don't know what that acronym means. Am I the nice guy? I should have got that the first time, god damn it. Oh dear, are you the nice guy? Ugh. I'm going to read a comment from below because I absolutely love it. This post is from Laurie Be Good. "You're the arsehole. Women are not slot machines where you put friendship and theatre tickets in and sex falls out. You already knew she wasn't interested." And that is too true. My dude, move on, apologise, pay for the tickets, and don't be a nice guy in future. Much love to you. And don't forget to vote in that top right hand corner. Our next story comes from Am I the Arsehole Best Friend Issue. Am I the arsehole for expecting basic human decency from my best friend? My best friend replies really slow to texts. Whenever she replies, I reply back ASAP, and then she takes over half an hour or more, sometimes even a whole day to reply back. We rarely have flowy convos where both parties reply on time. Yesterday I got annoyed and told her that I stop whatever I'm doing to reply to her, and I don't understand how she can't do the same. Instead, she replied back saying that she's grateful that I replied back ASAP, but we're two different people, and she doesn't like stopping what she's doing in the middle to reply back to a text, but it doesn't mean she doesn't value me, and she emphasised the different people, different personalities thing. That pissed me off even more, and I left her on red. She texted me again, and I left her on red once more. This morning she asked me why I left her on red, and I told her I was watching a Netflix show and I didn't want to stop in the middle. And she just said, "Oh okay, text me when you're free then." How can she be so oblivious that I'm doing the exact same thing she does to make her understand how annoying it is? Instead, she's acting like it doesn't matter to her, and honestly it's just pissing me off further. We're both in our early 20s and it's really immature of her to act like this. Am I the arsehole for expecting basic human decency and for her to treat me the same way I treat her? Edit, someone asked if she's this way with everyone or just me. She does this with everyone because she claims replying to people's messages makes her anxiety worse and apparently doesn't have the social energy. I've tried to understand this, but I don't really know what it means to talk to people often. She told me that she replies to other people after weeks, as if I'm supposed to feel grateful that she replies to me after hours or a whole day. I may have misused the word human decency, please stop chewing me out for that. English is not my first language. We're both girls and I don't like her romantically. A lot of people are telling me to call her, but she doesn't reply and then tell me I was going to do this or that. She tells me often because it takes a lot of energy, but even with text she replies slow. So I'm just out of options here. Yeah, you said not to call you out in human decency, but I'm afraid it's going to have to be done straight away. It's not basic human decency you're expecting. You're expecting to be prioritised over everything else in that person's life. You're expecting them to drop everything to reply to you instantly. I don't do that myself, and I won't. You know, I've got shit to do in my own life. The last thing I'm doing is texting. If you've got an emergency, you can call me, but I'm not stopping for a little flowy conversation just because you might get butthurt over it, you know? It's just not the way people roll. People got stuff to do in their lives, and as the girl said, she got anxiety and it makes her feel anxious doing so. So come on man, understand. You should be a good friend and understand that situation. What do you guys make of that story? Let me know in that top right hand corner for story 5. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, there's another one on your screen right as we speak. And don't forget to click that like button, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it truly helps out this channel. We've been growing a small amount just recently, and I'm very happy about it. So let's keep on that up curve, please. And I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys.